Hey everybody, it's Greg Harrelson here with my partner Abe Safa, and we are here from the Level Up podcast, just wanting to share a little bit more information with you on how you can accelerate your business and take advantage of the market where the market is right now. Abe, thank you for being here, and look forward to another conversation.
Yeah. Hey, Greg. Yeah. Another week.
Yeah,
Let's get this
you
going.
know, yeah, that things are going good, and congratulations on doing the New York Marathon this weekend. That was fantastic.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how many of you that are listening right now, like, struggle with follow up? And one of the main struggles, I think, when we experience struggle in the area of follow up, how many of you have actually, finally decided, oh, I need to call this person, and then you call that person to find out that they already bought with somebody or they already listed with somebody. So I would imagine you out there in the audience listening to this have all experienced that. I'm sure, Abe, you've experienced. I know I've experienced it too many times. So we want to talk about why agents struggle with follow-up. And we think, by the way, that when we talk about the reasons why people are struggling, at the same time, simultaneously, we're actually discovering some of the answers to what do you need to do so you're not struggling in that particular area. So what are your first initial thoughts, Abe, on why people are struggling? I know I've got some, and I know you do too. So let's share.
Yeah. I think, well, this is the one area that a lot of people don't pay enough attention to. Like, this is where most business, I feel like, is lost in the industry. And I think one of the biggest reasons for this is I think agents don't understand that it takes multiple efforts to actually get a deal to happen. So a lot of agents have this expectation that, hey, I should make one phone call and everything should click. I should set an appointment and I should go, and then it's a deal, right? When we all know that the overwhelming majority of the times that's not how it happens. So I think the first thing is wrapping your head around, like, look, this is a lengthy process in most cases. Like, when you do get lucky and it happens right off the first conversation, that's great. But you have to have a plan in place to expect it to take longer. I think the last time I've looked at it, I think it was over 7 attempts at least on average to get to an appointment. So I think that's the first thing is like, look, understand the process and understand that people have their own different timelines of how they want to be. And it's going to take multiple efforts.
Yeah, it's not a one and done, right? One conversation, and then it's like, oh, now you're in a relationship. You got a buyer agency agreement signed. You got a listed agreement signed. It's just not like that. And I think, just to go a little bit deeper on that, we got to remember that this is the largest transaction in America on average that an American will do. Somebody in America who does any kind of financial transactions, on average, real estate is the largest one. So there's a lot of time and a lot of decisions and a lot of information that has to be gathered before somebody just jumps on and starts doing a transaction. So, I think of that. One of the things that just dawned on me is, or just came to my top of my mind, is I think another reason why people struggle is after the initial conversation, they get lost for what to say next. Like, they know they've got these people that they talked to in the past. They need to, like, call them, but they don't know exactly what to say next. And then what they do is they default to, well, let me just send them a quick text. And the text is cold. It's not relevant. It's not real. It's not genuine or sincere. It's not helpful, meaning it's a text like this. It's like, hey, or the text would be something like this. Just wanted to check in, see if you're still looking to purchase in Myrtle Beach. Let me know if I can help you. That's not a let me know I can help you. That's I'm texting to see if you can help me type of text. And so I think what happens is we sometimes are not trained on what to say in follow-up. So then we don't want to have that conversation. So we default to text, and then we just text to check it off of our list because it's efficient and fast, and we don't connect through the conversation, and therefore we don't get engagement. So that's not only people maybe have a hard time even with the activity of follow-up, but then they rush the activity of follow-up and they just don't do it well. So I think we slow down and remember, in follow-up, we should be thinking, what can we give the consumer, not what we can get from the consumer. Now, some people, that's a hard thing to kind of like think about, right? Well, think of it this way. You just want the person at the other end of the communication to feel like engaging with you creates opportunity for them. Most of our follow-up text, if they engage back to us, it feels like it's opportunity for the agent. So I think we need to flip the script on that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Greg. I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things that I tell agents all the time around the area of not knowing what to say, I always say, look, all a follow-up is a continuation of the last conversation.
Yeah.
So whatever point you left the last conversation at, this should be a continuation. So if there was something that they had to get done, or they weren't quite ready to go look at properties, or whether it's a buyer or seller, so wherever it was left off, that's where it should be a continuation. It shouldn't be, I don't know what to say, and let me just text and see if they're ready. Are you ready to get the home on the market? Like, that's the last thing you want to be saying.
Yes.
But along the same thought is, a lot of times agents feel like, I don't want to bother the person. Like, they're reluctant to follow up. Well, look, I just spoke to this guy 2 weeks ago. Do I call him again? And things like that. So that's another thing to be thinking about. Okay, well, again, it's a continuation of the last conversation. So you never get off the phone with that lead unless you're very clear on what their timeline is. You're very clear on what it is that they have to overcome, or what it is that's holding them back. So it's easy to have that next conversation with them. And then the last thing before you get off the phone is actually know, like, clear in your mind, when should I follow back up with them again? Like, based on what we just talked about, is this somebody that I should call tomorrow? Is this someone I should call next week or a month from now? So those are things, as you're talking to the person, you just kind of be thinking, okay, what's the next step and when is it going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a good point. You know, when it comes to, I think the consumer, buyers or sellers, never have an issue with people calling them and adding value. So I think when we, the real estate agent, are finding resistance on follow-up, I think what's really going on is we're resisting calling and bothering people. And the only thing that's going to bother them is if we got commission breath. If we know the only thing we can think to say right now is like asking them, when are they going to do a transaction? Then I think we resist that because we know there's no value there. And so my challenge is, again, whenever you're feeling that, take a break, take a deep breath and say, okay, how can I add value to people today? Recalibrate that in your mind. And then however you can add value, now go make the call, and you'll see that no one's bothered by getting. People are only bothered when asked to give, over and over and over again. So
you can't go wrong if you keep that as a premise. Yeah, if that's your thought process, it's really hard to go wrong.
You're in good shape.
Yeah, kind of shifting gears a little bit. Another thing that just came to my mind is the type of communication channel that you're using. So a lot of times right now, it's tougher and tougher to get people on the phone. So if you're calling somebody every single day or every single week at 9 a.m. and they're just not picking up, we as agents have a tendency to think they're just not interested.
Yes.
We give up. But that could be the opposite from the truth. You know, they could be, that's their time for their yoga class. That's their time they're dropping off the kid at the school. There could be so many different reasons. So I think trying at different times of the day, trying different days of the week, trying different channels to reach them. Like, you know, one time it could be a phone call, one time it could be a text, it could be a Facebook Messenger, it could be all kinds of different things. Be a little bit creative in trying to get a hold of them. Don't assume that because you're trying to follow up with that lead and they didn't pick up on you, it means that they're not interested. That's not the case.
That's right. Yeah, you got to use text. And when it comes to texting, like that as a channel, you know, I think I just did a coaching call on this earlier today to the company, and I said our texts need to feel real. They need to feel genuine. They need to feel sincere, and they need to feel helpful. And I think if we just like kind of test ourselves before we send communication, before we make the call, we almost just need to set that intention. We got to feel real. We got to be sincere, genuine. It's got to be helpful. And again, it goes back to what you said. Yeah, if we kind of have that state of mind, you can't go wrong. What are the other things like you were talking about? I think you mentioned to me that follow up. A lot of times, agents only follow up with the hot leads.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, the hot leads are easy, right? You talk to the guy, look, I'm going to be ready. Just give me a call tomorrow. We'll meet. Those are easy. Like, but the real money, the real business, the real connection is made with the warm leads, right? Or the leads that were maybe hot 3 months ago and then went cold on you. So you got to have some sort of follow-up system where you can stay in touch and communicate and follow up with everyone in your pipeline, not just the ones at the bottom of the funnel. Right. So have some sort of strategy, some sort of process in place where, okay, if I've got these people tagged as a B leads, then I know I should be calling them once a month. Right. If they're a C lead, then I know at least once every, 2 months or 3 months. Have some sort of structure, protocol that you keep up with all these leads, regardless of where they are in the pipeline. I think that would do tremendous to help people convert more leads.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't want to go too deep. We try to keep these things around 10 minutes. We're a little bit over. So I want to keep this kind of, to an extent. Like a final thought on follow-up, and then I'll give one.
Yeah, I think the main thing is you'll have a protocol in place where you can follow up with your whole pipeline is the first thing. Second thing, which is even more important, is bring value to every single conversation.
Bring value.
Just like the things we talked about. Like if you just stick with those two things, I don't think you can go wrong. And then build off of it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The thing that I want to just remind everybody, and I remind us every time on these calls, on these presentations is, hey, look, Abe and I have a coaching company called Real Estate Sales Solutions, but a program called Agent Success Academy. We'd love to be a part. We'd love for you to be a part of Agent Success Academy. Allow us to coach you. So check that out. There will be a link, in all the communication that we're sharing. But check out Agent Success Academy. That's where we talk about follow up a lot more. Even Abe did a whole course on fanatical follow up. So there's some great information on follow up and how to increase your conversion. Abe, thank you so much for the time, and until next week. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, thank you all for watching.
Bye-bye.